They call him Seatin, the man of legends.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, it is Seatin here. Welcome to How to Level Fast in Archeage. Today I'm going to be giving you tips and tricks which will allow you to get to max level very quickly. I already have a level 50 character. I got there in about the first day and a bit. Really fast. I pulled a massive stint and I've already leveled 3 additional skill sets to 50. I could have them all at 50 now, but literally I just can't be bothered leveling the others because they're all caster based ones, and that would mean I have to get other gear. But these tips and tricks work for pretty much your standard leveling route, and then when you want to go back and level additional skill sets. Now, one thing that I want to preface this guide by saying is that in Archeage, I know a lot of people will be saying, oh, what is the best leveling spec? The best leveling spec is the spec that you want to play at endgame. It's not any kind of like just leveling spec on the forums, because regardless of which, you're going to have to go back and level the spec you want to play at endgame, as you have these things called skill sets. Your build is made up of 3 skill sets, and you need to manually level them each. So you basically, whatever you want to play at endgame, whether it's Dark Runner, Primeval, Dagger, Spell, or any kind of other weird combination of builds, you want to level using that spec. So beforehand, I'd suggest doing a bit of research, finding out what spec you want to play at endgame, look at some Archeage PvP videos, and then decide on the spec and level using that. Pretty much any spec and every spec is viable to level with, apart from some really odd healing ones, which may be a bit more difficult, but if you find a buddy or two, it can still be, pretty damn efficient. Now, the first thing to note is that basically leveling as a group in Archeage via the questing system is actually hugely beneficial and will save you hours and hours of time. Now, the ideal group size to level with, in my experience, is probably about 3 to 4 people. This ensures that you're not super bottlenecked by any gathering quests and that you can just quickly underachieve those anyway. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is mainly leveling via burning labour. Now, you'll notice you have this resource in the bottom left hand of your screen called labour. Now you'll have a different cap and it will regenerate faster or slower depending on whether or not you are a patron. Now, if you are a patron, it will regenerate up to 5,000 labour over the course of about 2 days. It's slightly faster, 10 labour every 5 minutes if you're online, 5 labour every 5 minutes if you're offline. Now, basically, you can burn this labour and turn it into experience. Anything that consumes labour will grant you experience. So, for example, if you are gathering using labour, if you're crafting using labour, if you are doing anything that uses labour, you will get experience from that. And that experience is basically 1 labour equals your level plus a bit more. So, for example, if I'm a level 50 burning labour, so if I burn 1 labour, it's going to equate to roughly 52 experience. If I'm level 20 burning labour, it's going to equate to roughly 25 experience per 1 labour burned. It's a bit of an odd ratio, but basically right. So for example, if I burn 100 labour as a level 50, I'm going to get 5,200 experience for burning that labour. And that is amazing. Now, add in something called a Vocation Tonic, which can be purchased via the store for 300 credits. They can be brought on the auction house, or you can buy Apex via the auction house and then consume that to buy Vocation Tonics. That is 10,000 experience I get for every 1,000 labour I burn. So that is just crazy experience. So now what we're going to do is we're going to flip to a video of my lower level character just kind of doing this thing where I essentially burn labour for experience, and I'm going to explain it. So we're just going to go into that video right now. Look at that, the magic of video editing. I am now on my level 18 dagger spell. So I'm going to show you how I burn labour, and I believe this to be the most quick and efficient way. So the first thing I do is I want to pop a Vocation Tonic, because I want double the XP for labour consumed. Now, what I want to do is I craft braces in general over and over again. Now, this gives me two benefits. It gives me a crap ton of XP. As you can see, my level just shoots up and up. You can see, like in this video, I go from 18 to level 24 in a matter of minutes. And also, this increases my proficiency in either, you can do this with leather working, you can do it with tailoring, or you can do it with metalwork. So this grants me extra proficiency for that profession, so it's essentially leveling that profession up, so that by the time I hit 50, I'm going to have a decent chunk of proficiency in that profession, so that I can, get onto crafting my illustrious and endgame gear, so that I can, decently gear up in endgame. So I'm constantly crafting these braces over and over again. You'll see that they are really, really cheap to craft, because they require 1 Moonlight Archeage Dust, 1 either fabric, iron bar, or leather, and 3 of these basically general merchant consumable vendor items. So those are really, really cheap, and every time I break down the braces using an even stone, I get the Moonlight Archeage Dust back, which is basically the main expense of crafting the braces. I get it right back, so basically every time I want to burn 100 labor, it only costs me roughly 20 silver and a bit. So that's pretty damn awesome. And you can, farm the leather, or maybe fabric, or iron ore for yourselves. It's pretty damn easy, but whichever braces you want to craft, make sure it kind of equates to the endgame gear that you want to craft. So, if you're like an archer, you want to be crafting leather braces. If you are a caster, you want to be crafting the cloth braces. And if you are a hard-hitting melee warrior, dark runner, shadow blade, then you will probably want to be doing the plate stuff. So that is pretty much it for the labor burning. Like, as you can see, it levels really, really fast using this. If you haven't understood what I've said, or you want a written guide for this, there is one in the description of the video, so you can, you can recap off of that. But yeah, that's one of the ways that you can level very, very fast, and it's encouraged that everybody burn their labor in big chunks once basically your labor bar is full. You can also get workers' compensations, which are labor pots from the auction house or via credits for additional labor to burn. So just the next thing that I wanted to talk about is the actual patron status itself. So if you have patron, you get a 10% XP gain. While this isn't like a huge how to level fast, it does help, So if you want to lay down a bit of extra money and get 10% increased experience, you do have the option to do that. It's not huge, it's not game breaking, but as well as the 10% XP gain, you also gain additional labor, both online and offline. So, it's definitely worth investing in, especially when you want to level your initial character, just to make it very, very easy. I mean, 1 month's patron is more than enough to level your character and level a few additional skill sets. So another piece of fast leveling advice that I've seen thrown about is overachieve everything. And I'm going to be honest, guys, this is horrible advice. Now, basically, for those of you who are new to the game and don't understand the achievement system in quests, there's basically underachieving, completing, and overachieving a quest. So say, for example, you have a quest to kill 10 goblins. You kill 5 of those goblins, you have underachieved the quest, you can hand it in, get a reduced experience award. You kill 10 goblins, the actual quest requirement, you have completed that quest, you get the quest reward originally specified, and then you can go on your merry way. You kill 15 goblins, you overachieve the quest, and get additional experience. Now, in some scenarios, this is really good to do, like if the mobs are really easy and do absolutely nothing. Like, for example, let's just take these dwarf traders here. Like, whatever you do, you poke them about, they just do nothing, and they just die, like, really, really easily for anybody doing them. But for example, there are a lot of mobs that you encounter while leveling that throw out various CC effects. So basically, mobs like the dwarfs, you'll probably want to overachieve on them, because they're really easy to kill, you can kill a lot of them very fast. But for example, if we went over there to the mansion over there, I know there are some headless horseman NPCs, which will basically stun you, fear you, just do a load of really, really annoying stuff, which will basically increase the time that is required to kill them. And this will mean that maybe killing them is going to take a ton of additional time, and you really don't need to overachieve underachieve everything. So what I do, you know, is you have to play it smart. You have to go, look, at the mobs that I'm killing, are they easy? Are they for an out CC? How is my mana doing? Do I have enough mana to take down 15 of them? Or am I going to have like a, I don't know, 2-minute break to regen all my mana? So you kind of have to factor in those calculations and do them for yourself while leveling. But basically, the kind of simple point that I want to get across is don't bother overachieving annoying mobs. Like, there is no point to it, and it will waste your time. There are tons of annoying mobs that you will get, like the Horsemen, for example. There are ones in various areas like Sand Deep, which bubble trap you and waste just literally probably like 30 seconds of your time just on various CC effects that they use. So for those type of mobs, you probably want to underachieve them. But for mobs like the Dwarfs, which are basically free kills and really easy to burn down, you just want to absolutely tear through them, overachieve that. The same goes with quests where you have to gather, really. If basically there are tons of people around and it's really hard to gather them, and you're having to wait like, you know, a couple of minutes to get each one of the items, you probably want to underachieve that. But if there are tons of items to pick up all over the place, then you want to overachieve that. If it's really easy to do, overachieve it. If it's annoying, underachieve it. That's the kind of point that I want to get across here. And if it's kind of fairly even to do, you can just complete the quest. If it is like, you know, you've killed 10 mobs and you completely you go, you know, I can't be arsed waiting around regenerating my mana, get back on my horse, charge back to the quest giver, hand it in, get the next quest, let my mana regen, and boom, you're back in the game. So it's really up to you to use your common sense to overachieve and underachieve based on the mob difficulty. And believe it or not, this will speed up the leveling experience so much. Literally, people waste just so much time trying to overachieve mobs that are really, really annoying, or trying to pick up tons and tons of items. So even though that's a fairly simple tip, if you follow that, you will save lots of time. So that's it for that one. The final tip that I want to talk about is war in a zone. Now, this is another reason why I suggest leveling with your sort of endgame spec, or your aspiring endgame spec. Now, this is because it will probably be viable for PvP while leveling, and in the level 35 plus zones, you are probably going to have to PvP a fair bit. I mean, Archeage is all about PvP in the open world. There are various ways to get around it, such as questing through that zone in a peaceful period. Peaceful periods happen just after a war, but basically the thing I want to talk about is war and how that can give you additional XP while leveling. So, for example, Windscour Savannah is at war at the moment. Zones gradually ramp up depending on the player kills. You'll see they have like a little 5-notch bar, and when that gets to 5 notches and surpasses that, the zone goes into war for about an hour and 15 to 20 minutes. Now, if you kill somebody in a zone during war, you get tons of experience. It's roughly the equivalent to about 75%. I'd say actually it's equivalent to underachieving a quest in that zone. So if you kill one person and get the killing blow on them, you get basically a free underachieved quest worth of experience given to you all in one bulk. So what you can do, for example, you know, is if you see somebody in a zone at war, everybody's going to be trying to PvP each other. And if you can get some decent kills off and, you know, stay alive and just keep on moving, keep on questing, then you are going to get little additional chunks of experience which can really, really speed up the leveling process. Granted, this can create a few enemies, so it is a bit risky, but, you know, it's definitely something to bear in mind that basically when a zone is at war, you will gain additional experience. Just make sure the zone is actually at war and not in, for example, you know, danger, dispute, or basically any other scenario that is at war, because basically if you're not at war, all you are doing is creating enemies and encouraging more people to gank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is been pretty much it for the quick leveling guide. I mean, kind of the bulk of this to take away is burn your labor. Try to use Vocation Tonics. If not, it's still a crap ton of experience. Step number 2 is that overachieve and underachieve. Think smart, you know, are the mobs easy, are they hard? And the final one is if you're at war, try to get some kills off because you get a nice decent chunk of experience. So that has been pretty much it for the guide, guys. If you have any additional leveling tips, feel free to leave them in the comments of the video below. I'll go through them, and if I like them, I will definitely, add them into the description of this video. But from what I've found, leveling in Archeage is really simple and straightforward, and there really isn't that much to it. It's not like other games where you have all these additional activities. So that's pretty much it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, and have a wonderful day.